Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. But before we get to the show, you know what? You know I'm getting ready to head out to Philly for the Netroots Nation 2019. And I had a great time this weekend taking care of prepping and preparing and making sure we have all the pieces together to take out there. And you know what, man? It is going great. We are going to have some good times, and I'm going to have some good stuff to transmit from Philly, sometimes live, sometimes taped. I'm hoping this week to start getting in touch with people that I want to talk to so that I can bring them to you, folks probably that you haven't heard of, some that you've heard of, see if I can get some of the political stars. But I tell you, one of the things that I'm not, I'll be frank. Many times I go ahead and I bring in some of the big wheels, right? But the people that I have the best time with, the people that I enjoy the most talking to, are those people that are on the ground, that are doing things, those writers, those bloggers, those activists that are on the ground, that are making things happen so that these particular political stars that eventually get elected, they get elected. Every now and then I'll pick a few of them up, like I did the last time. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see if I can get Ocasio-Cortez. I mean, hey, after all, I was the one that called her winning that thing. I was the first radio media person that said she was going to win that particular race, even though everybody thought there wasn't a chance. I'm also going to try to see if Elizabeth Warren and a few others will oblige. It should be a good time. But whatever the case is, we're going to bring you a whole lot of interviews. Last time I brought over 50 different interviews from regular folks on the floor, on the ground. I think the last time was in New Orleans, from regular folks on the ground. I mean, I remember there was the first interview I did in New Orleans for Netroots Nation 2018 was with a bus driver. The bus driver that took us from the airport to the hotel. And this guy had a whole, he had a box in the van. In the bus. I didn't know what it was all about. But he stopped, and there's this guy that approached the bus, and he just kind of had his hands out. This guy opened his box, took out a sandwich and a water, and gave it to the guy. And then I noticed at another stop, another homeless person came, and he gave that other guy, a sandwich and water. So at the end of the trip, I'm like, is this real? And he said, oh yeah, I do this every day. I think he said he made either 7 or 14. I don't remember which one it was. 7 sandwiches, 7 waters. And he brings that to work every day. And that is to give people who need something to eat. I had to interview that guy. It was just, I hadn't seen somebody just out of their pockets to just go ahead and say, you know what, I want to do my good deed for the day. And imagine if more people did that kind of stuff. I hope on my way to Philly or from the airport, it's a long drive from the airport to downtown, I hope we can see some of that as well. But you know what? Humanity trumps Trump. Humanity trumps Trump. But anyhow, what are we going to talk about today? And of course, I forgot to bring up my browser here. So let's see what we're going to do today as I bring up my browser and start saying, hey, people, we are going to have un show pero perfecto. Y porque lo que vamos a hablar de cosas bien importantes. We're going to be talking about very, very, very important things. So as soon as I bring up the thing today, I'm going to get started. Folks, remember, this is a call-in show. You can reach us at 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. I would be happy for people to call in. Today's subject is about women, our women-only ticket. I would love, hey, how you doing, Mr. Rudnin? Watching with a friend. Thank you so kind. Tell your friend not only to watch, but go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Go ahead and like the page and like the YouTube channel. I mean, we are going to we are going to change this world, people. We are going to change this world. Jennifer Ann House Sanders, welcome aboard. How you doing, my friend? Let me go to the multi-channel here so that I can see my folks on YouTube as well. So bear with me as I bring in my Restream chat, which I think I just clicked on. But we're going to have a great show for you today, my dear brothers and sisters. Okay, so what is it about today? The title of the show today is All Women Democratic Ticket? It's a question mark. That's what I want. I was a Bernie Sanders delegate. I love Bernie Sanders. I love all the social policies that Bernie Sanders represents. I think Bernie Sanders is solely responsible, sumamente responsable, solely responsible for what is occurring in our country today, for the progressive move, for people understanding progressive values, the things that really matter in their lives. I think he's turned people around. He's done a great job of that. But I think it is time. I mean, I think he had his run when I was one of his delegates, yes. And I would love to continue supporting him, support other folks, and to stay in the race, not to leave the race. It's not time yet. But what I honestly think it is time for are women. So the title of the show is All Women Democratic Ticket. And the second segment of the show is going to be, here is how we talk Medicare for all going forward. Don't tire of me talking Medicare for all, because I am going to be talking Medicare for all every single show. There will be either a segment or some piece of it, because it is that important to us all, my brothers and my sisters. It is all important. Bernie would be great for 4 years. Yes, he would be great for 4 years, but I don't know if I don't know if the dynamics lends itself to that. But look, if Bernie garners the people to win the race, of course, we are here to back Bernie. I mean, Bernie's people are going to be there for Bernie. And but again, I would like to see people go ahead and put these women through. It is time not because they are women. This is a subtitle. It is time not because they are women, but because they come so prepared to take the ball and run. Medicare for all is under attack in a manner that could succeed, but here's the deal. Here's how we talk. 2020 should be all about women power, in my manly opinion. Hear that? In my manly opinion, again, for what it's worth, I think 2020 should be about women's power. And I start this way. If we were to measure performance through the eyes of those who control our government, world, and economy, it would be immediately evident that their fallibility continues to grow undeterred. What do I mean by that? Men just about run everything right now in the Western world, which means in the entire world, because the Western world drives economies throughout the world. And we are at a point of decline. And it's not only that we're at a point of decline, but we are at a point of inhumanity. Inhumanity all over. We have the strong men all over Europe. We have it all over. Yeah, we have maybe a kind of a half a strong woman in France with the woman who's with the right party. But I mean, the evil that is the inhumanity that's occurring throughout the world is mostly a man thing. And then I continued this way. Insanity is doing the same thing in the same manner over and over again and expecting a different result. Again, it should be all about women running now. We have been trying men to govern this country since its inception, and we've gotten so much wrong. Science would tell us that we should attempt to play around with the independent variables in that regard. Women are an independent variable. Men are independent variables. It is high time to try women. right? Change that independent variable and see what happens with all the dependent variables thereafter. The economic model, the models that take care of kids, the model that take care of people, all of those dependent on the leader. That's what we mean by dependent and independent variables. Very often we use that in science as far as when we're trying to hold degrees of freedom on issues. We want to hold certain things constant to see how other things change. Well, let's change out a man and put a woman and see how things change. We've been trying men for a long time. Let's put a woman. Let's see how things change. Remember insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. In that regards, it is high time to try women. Let's see what happens. I think we have several women running. Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris being the front runners that would each outclass any male candidate currently in the field at this time. But then we have Tulsi Gabbard as well. I think the only thing I think is she's changed her opinions necessarily on quite a few issues, but she's strong. Even the woman from New York that I'm not particularly fond of, I don't recall her name right immediately speaking, but also she showed some strength in the debate. So I say yes, it is time. It is time for a woman. Sapphire Sky said Joe Warren ticket is perfect. I don't know. Joe has some serious problems, including women problems. Sky, I don't only do politics, Sapphire Sky. I do whatever you guys want me to do. In other words, if you have some sort of social issue that you want to ask a question about, please go ahead and ask about it. And I'm always ready to put my 2 cents in, with humility, of course. So don't fret. If there's something else that you want to put in there or throw in the sky, Sapphire, please feel free to do so. Jennifer Ann says not Harris. Jennifer, I want to tell you something that's going to happen with everybody that's running, both male and female. The op machine is going to be out there searching for everything negative that they can find about the person, and they will spin it in the most negative light. They did it with Biden. Again, they're doing it, or rather, they're doing it with Biden. They are about to start it with Harris and Willie Brown in California and some other issues like that. Please, I am not. My biggest concern is not all the negatives that these people are going to pull out on these guys, right? Because they're human beings like us all. When it comes to women, a lot of people are going to talk about her as if, she hung with Willie Brown to move her career forward. And let's say that is true. Let's assume that is true. So what? So what is what I'm saying, and the reason I'm saying so what, get out of there. The reason I'm saying so what is because there are so many avenues that have been closed to women. The one good thing women and people that have been aggrieved know how to do is how to skin a cat in many, many different ways. I love Castro. I think if that is the male that I have the most affinity for is in fact Castro. I love Castro because Castro is honest in my humble opinion. Castro is measured in my humble opinion, which means he can actually win because he has the disposition to do so. Castro also understands policy, much more so than my other good friend Beto O'Rourke. Okay? I would have hoped that Beto O'Rourke would run for Senate because he fits Texas perfectly for the Senate. And yes, I love that, Rene Perpetua. Castro has quite a bit of empathy. Folks, the telephone number is 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. And before I'm getting into the meat of the program, I'm really enjoying the comments that you're putting out there for me to answer. I really, really love the interaction with you guys. I wouldn't mind if some of you were to call in as well before I really get into the meat of some of the stuff that I want to discuss, because this program is really all about you. and all about. I hope that you come here so that you don't only interact with me, but also others on the board, others in the different areas, both on YouTube, Periscope, elsewhere. And that is how we get this mass movement put together. So Warren said she will. Okay, let's see. All right, so let me get into some of the meat. What I want to do is play you a video. I don't remember if I played this one for you before. It's a video that I did last week sometime when Donny Deutsch was trying to barrage anybody who was progressive winning by first associating them with socialists and then moving on from there. And let me tell you why I wanted you to listen to this video. I'm going to expand on it afterwards, because what we have is the establishment of the Democratic Party showing its colors. So let's go ahead and do this video, and then I'll be back in a second. If you've seen this video before, we have a lot more to talk about, but here we go. Purported progressive Donny Deutsch. He's always on Morning Joe. Not only is he always on Morning Joe, MSNBC just gave him a show recently. Here is the deal. This is the same guy who went on Morning Joe and said, you know what, if the Democrats elect a socialist like Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, I will vote for Donald Trump. That is what a purported progressive actually said until Joe Scarborough looked at him and said, no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. And then he started to backtrack. But here's the reality now. He's on this kick saying that Elizabeth Warren cannot beat Donald Trump. He's on a kick that's saying Bernie Sanders cannot beat Donald Trump. I mean, even Joe Scarborough pointed out that Bernie Sanders could beat Donald Trump. Elizabeth Warren could beat Donald Trump. Here's the deal. Joe Biden is not electable, and I showed several times how they are going to go against Joe Biden. First of all, Joe Biden have some women issues, not like Donald Trump. His is more on a chauvinistic basis, but they will show it with him touching women and all of that as if, oh my God, we have the president grabbing on women. We also have Joe Biden grabbing on women. That's how they're going to portray it. Do we also have the issues with racial problem? We know that Donald Trump is a racist. They will make Joe Biden a racist when they talk about him being with segregationists and not being called a boy but a son. They have this stuff about him, the dog whistles that he put out there, talking about Obama being an articulate guy. They have him being against busing. They will make Joe Biden, as far as morality, racial justice, and sexism and misogyny, they will equalize that with Donald Trump. That is what their marketing department will successfully do. And at that point, then, they will bring in plagiarism of Biden's past with Donald Trump and his lies. So they will equalize all these issues together. Now, what irks is to watch them give a lot of play to Donny Deutsch, who's going to come on TV and constantly try to tell progressives, oh, Elizabeth Warren, what she's saying is wonderful, it is great, but she cannot win against Donald Trump. You watched her last night, and I saw somebody who can go toe to toe with Donald Trump. And I have no problem seeing a woman there. Thank you, Lawrence O'Donnell. Lawrence O'Donnell simply shut Donny Deutsch up with his preposterous articulations. And check this out.
You still stand by your now widely quoted prediction?
My issue, unfortunately, and do not shoot the messenger, is the messenger. I do not believe Elizabeth Warren on stage with Donald Trump beats him. And I also think when you can label somebody a socialist, 57% of this country thinks that word is un-American. I'm not saying it's fair. When he can blanket Elizabeth Warren as a socialist and he's on stage with her, the Democrats lose. I think she's delightful. I think she's wonderful. I'm a big fan. I just don't think she has what it takes to beat this president the same way, at least an idealized version of Joe Biden is. Don't shoot the messenger. It's just facts. We got to get Trump out.
Let's just identify this for what it is.
And then we have that
pure guesswork a year and a half away from the guess point.
Absolutely.
And so it has, and Donnie, I say this respectfully, zero value.
It's understanding human behavior.
In a similar
Don't tell me it has zero value. Don't tell me it has zero value. It's understanding human behavior.
It's a guess. It's a wild guess, Donnie.
It's not. It's understanding human behavior, and I guarantee you, 90% of our audience
it's a wild guess. There's no science in it. There's nothing in it.
There's no science in it.
And no one can make it. You can put any name you want in the wild guess that you just made, and it doesn't make it true.
I'm understanding what Donald Trump, the way way he connects with this country and the strength he exudes. We need to exude a stronger strength. It's
This
not
is
a
the
policy
pure
discussion.
guesswork section of the discussion.
This is the pure guesswork section of the discussion. I could not agree more, and it is clear that even Mr. Deutsch has a sexism problem. He exudes strength, and a woman can't exude strength, and Elizabeth Warren with her policies and determination isn't strength. Please, both Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders would beat Donald Trump. Absolutely, no doubt. If progressives get behind and start telling people what they intend to do for them, they have the winning ticket, not only for the presidency, but to sweep the whole darn country into the progressive direction that they really, really. Okay. So I hope you get what I was driving there. Now, what we have is we have a whole lot of supposedly progressive folks that are trying to micromanage who we are going to choose to represent us in 2020, and we can't allow that to occur. So my premise today is let's not continue to do the same things the same way over and over again, and we should start really considering not even, again, like I said in the initial piece that I brought up here, if you take an honest look at all the people on stage, when we saw them on stage, and it turns out that the two from a standpoint of who displayed the most acumen to be president over the last two debates, it was both Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris. Two flawed candidates, like every single candidate on that screen, but they exuded the most, not only confidence, but that they had a feeling where they wanted to carry the country, and not only that it's where they want to carry the country, it's where the country wants to be carried. Now, in that regards, there's a poll that came out, I think it's Media ITE, that had it, and this is what they wrote. They wrote the following. California Senator first of all, the title of their post was Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren clobbered everyone at debates by a lot, according to new poll. California Senator Kamala Harris and Massachusetts Elizabeth Warren outclassed the competition at last week's Democratic presidential debate by several country miles, according to a pair of New HuffPost YouGov polls. I'm coming to you in a second, telephone caller. Warren was the consensus winner among the media during Wednesday's first debate, while Harris stood out during the Thursday night edition. But according to the new poll, it wasn't even close. On night one, 59% of Democratic and Democratic-leaning voters said that Warren did the best job, with the next best score belonging to former Obama cabinet member Julian Castro, which goes exactly as some of our commenters were stating a few minutes ago right there in our group, at just 16%. Harris outpaced her nearest rival by the same margin. Among Dems and Democratic leaners, 59% to former Vice President Joe Biden's 16%. So Joe Biden came in second in the second debate, and Castro came in second in the first debate. All right, let me go to the call. Let's see. Come on in, caller. Let's see. From 202. Come on in. You're hot. Yes.
It's me.
Johnny?
Berto, Rudy Sutherland here, man.
Hey, Rudy. How you doing, buddy? Talk to me.
Johnny. You don't know. Okay, listen.
Yes.
Man, you know what? Let me say this. If there's nothing else that I can say, you have some passion for this. I don't see. Here's in the general election.
Yes.
You know what Donnie Deutsch was saying, and Donnie is a very serious guy. He's a very serious guy. He knows marketing. He knows marketing, and that's why he knows Donald Trump so well. And I think he has his thumb on the pulse. I've talked to so many folks if you want to romanticize the Democratic Party and think in terms of just Democrats voting. The Electoral College does not favor that. You've got to have some crossover appeal if you're going to beat Trump. And so when you say that you really believe that Elizabeth Warren, as romantic as she may sound with all the things that she's pushing, she has no crossover appeal. The only person, honestly, that has crossover appeal that I'm listening to, because I watch all of it, both sides, and I try to be objective, is Joe Biden. He is. If Joe Biden, I'm gonna make this statement on your show, and I want you to remember I said it. If Joe Biden does not get the nomination, Donald Trump gets a second term. There's no two ways about it. Now, I really believe that he could strengthen himself by taking Kamala Harris onto his ticket, and then he's on. And then you got to fight. You got to fight.
Okay, let me come back now, Dr. Rudy. You notice I made you say your whole piece because I wanted you to convince me that I was wrong, and here's why I think I'm right.
Okay.
First of all, Donny Deutsch was the same guy who thought that Donald Trump didn't have a chance of winning. Okay, he was the same guy who thought that back on Morning Joe. So when you see Lawrence O'Donnell come to him and say, the value of what you're saying is zero, the value of what anybody's saying, including me, is zero until execution. And what I mean by that, Rudy, is the following. I am romanticizing women winning the election, knowing that even some women are biased against women. I am romanticizing that I want women to win, knowing that a lot of black men, because of the inherently chauvinistic form, you and I know, I think you're a black person if I recall correctly, know there's a certain degree, of in the Latino community, which I'm a member of, in the black community, which I'm a member of, in the Caribbean community, which I'm a member of, there's a certain amount of chauvinism and sexism in there as well. But I'm going to
I can tell you this. Let me interrupt you.
I made you finish, my brother. Right. Come on, brother. I made you finish whole long.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I apologize.
I know, no apology needed. You're my friend. Come on, all my people are my people. Everybody that's here is my people.
Right. You're right. Listen. Okay. I just want to make a point in between.
Okay, go ahead and make your point. I tell you what. Go ahead and make your point, and then I'll continue. Go ahead, make your point.
This is. Let me say. Here's the way we figured it. As far as I calculated, we had Obama. And what you saw was a relief, and because I've got a lot of white friends. I'm a black man.
Right.
I got a lot of white friends that felt like they had given relief.
Right.
To minorities because we made them a friend. And even Mitch McConnell said that.
Yes.
Listen, he just gave up the ghost.
No, you're right. Okay, I get
everything.
Rudy, I know what you're saying, and what you're saying is definitely, and I agree with you first of all. And here's what I'm trying to tell you. I can't disagree with anything you just said because you are talking about the way things are right now, and I agree with you. Because you're an intelligent person, Donny Deutsch is talking about right now. I am saying we can't have right now every time because you never get tomorrow otherwise. And what I'm purporting to do is this country is in flux right now. It's in flux for change for whoever decides to change it. And I want to.
I'll tell you.
Let me tell you,
want to, brother.
I know, brother. I know that they didn't want to with slavery. They didn't want to with civil rights. They didn't want to with women's rights. They still don't want to with ERA. I'm saying let's do it, baby. Rudy, let me get somebody else on, and then I'm keeping you hot, however. But come on in to 973. Come on in.
Berto, it's Johnny.
This time it's Johnny. Come on in, Johnny.
Berto, that's Johnny.
Come on in, Johnny.
You know I had to come. You know I had to come diving in. You know I love politics.
Yes, sir. Talk to me.
I mean, when I'm not taking care of the common people and giving them what they need so they can survive and do well, I love talking about politics because you know what? Politics gives us an opportunity to really create something beyond. And so I just want to say I understand, Rudy's cynicism.
Right.
But I would also caution him against it, that the cynicism is the easy part.
Right.
And I understand that you see Donald Trump get elected, and our reaction as, ADOS, as Black Americans across the board, from the Caribbean, from all across the diaspora, is to be cynical. But what's really interesting is that the Trump presidency has actually advanced our position.
Thank you. I agree
with that. It has advanced our position because I would argue that if Hillary had won, we would not be talking about reparations. And so at some point, when we talk about wealth inequality and how that has to be addressed, and fixing historical differences, and starting to come into these communities and fix them with a real agenda. On that point, I have to say that this is interesting, that this is what happened with Trump. And I understand that part of what happened as far as the blowback from Obama, there was a blowback.
Right.
There was a kickback as far as having, if Biden would have run against Hillary in 2016, Biden would be the president. But we're in a new world now, and the blowback against Trump and everything that he has destroyed. I used to have conversations with my colleagues, especially my Latino colleagues, that would look at me when I talked to them about racism and white supremacy. They would look at me sideways. It's like, oh, that's not really real. You black people are looking for a crutch, blah, blah, blah. And now the conversation is different.
Right.
Now the conversation is...
Let me break in a second.
We have condos.
Let me break in here, guys.
Let
Let me break in a second, Rudy and Johnny. Let me tell you, there's some intersectionality here, and Rudy, what I'm trying to say to you is, first of all, you are at today's state. What I'm trying to build, I am not doing politics done right for the sake of doing politics done right. I'm doing politics done right because we have an opportunity to make that transition. We are the only country that have yet to elect a woman as the leader of the world, as the leader here. We are yet to do that. Just like we coalesced for Obama, and I'm actually looking at, I worked the Obama model, okay? I was actually very engaged in the Obama model as a part of it, actually. And I see the way to win this thing is similar to Obama. Remember, Obama didn't win 50+1. Obama won close to 60% if we take a look at all the dynamics that went out there, which is what I said, what I've been talking about. We don't want 50+1 victories because that doesn't give you much. When Obama won, we won the entire damn Senate veto proof, and we won a strong state representative.
But Berto,
Rudy, I'm coming to you. Rudy, I'm gonna let you talk. Let me finish because I want to get the complete.
No, that's not Rudy. That's Johnny. I'm listening.
Okay.
That was Johnny.
Sorry, Johnny. Hold on a second. Okay, sorry, guys. But here's what I want to do.
Perfect.
I want us to see another picture. I want us to, because I was explaining what geometric progression is like in the last show, right? A lot of people are listening just to mainstream media. And because mainstream media thinks one way and a lot of people see mainstream, that's how things are. I am into geometric progression from the grassroots, something that Obama was successful at doing and did not replicate for very specific reasons. Because had Obama kept Obama for America, had he kept OFA, OFA would have done what Bernie and all these guys wanted, because this was a real grassroots infrastructure. They destroyed that infrastructure on purpose. Obama was a part of it too. They destroyed it because they didn't ever really want people progressive power. And this doesn't,
Berto, and my point is that if we're going to have this discussion about who's going to win the presidency, you really have to talk about who's in control of social media.
Yes.
And what type of buffers are going to be on Facebook and on Twitter.
Thank
because
you.
Ultimately, those two companies are going to have a huge say in who wins any of this.
You know something? You're right, and that is the next. That's the next step.
That, Johnny.
Go ahead, Rudy. Go ahead.
Let me be the third leg on this. Let me be the third leg on this stool.
Yes, sir.
Look, what I see, and you know, I told you, Berto, when you asked me, if you remember, when I told you I wasn't voting for Hillary, I was voting for Trump.
Yes.
The reason, strategically, I'm playing chess here. I said I'm voting for him because he's going to let the roaches into the middle of the floor.
I remember
what
that.
He did was we would not be able to step on them. We would not be able to step on them if we did not turn the light on. And what he gave them was a spotlight. Now, I agree 100% with what you guys were saying about us needing to have women have a different perspective on things.
Right.
They have a whole different way of going about things. I would love to. I'm trying to find one of them, and there's several of them in that group. And you're right. There's a lot of time, a lot of runway before we take off. But I'm saying to you, what I'm also hearing from Trump has normalized a lot of stuff that we wouldn't even let our kids do. We would, come on, man, calling, coming up with these nicknames for folks. What president? Come on. And then he just
concentration camps. We got concentration camps.
Right.
We have concentration camps in America right now.
Yeah.
But yet, this Trump presidency is coming to an end. To me, this is simple stuff, because I would argue to Rudy and to everyone else that, you know what, I think that the mass media is doing a disservice. It's really going to come down to anybody but Trump.
Right.
I think it's going to be that simple.
Right.
I almost feel like anybody could win. But my thing is, as I said before, the question isn't which Democrat. The question is, what is Congress like? If we're going to have gridlock, then Warren might not be the best choice, because she's not going to get anything passed. But if we're going to have total gridlock, then maybe an outlier.
One at a time. Okay.
Like Buttigieg,
Hold on, guys. Let me ask you both a favor. Okay, let me ask you both a favor, just so that we have some control here. Anytime I say stop, both stop, because I want to give this a pleasurable listening experience to everybody, and not anybody talking over each other. So I beg for your for doing that.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so
Egberto, let me just let you know there's
sir.
I apologize in advance. There's a slight delay.
Okay.
What I'm experiencing is there's a slight delay in talking.
Got you.
So that might be some of it too. I'm with you 100%.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Now, here's the deal. What I want us to do, and this goes to both Johnny and Rudy, is I think we accept where we are. I think most people, including my great people on the that's listening right now on Facebook Live and on YouTube Live, I think we are all in agreement as progressives. What is the issue? I think what we are different levels of what we can achieve, right? And here's what I've been telling progressive throughout, right? Some progressive think it has to be Biden, because they think that he can reach a certain set of people that we have to reach, because we're not going to be able to get to them in time. I am of the school of thought that I am not just preaching to the choir, but I have reached a whole lot of, and they would say, a redneck would look at me and say, hey, you one brother that got to this redneck, and that's the kind of open conversation we have start having with folks. So I feel that, by the way, also, Elizabeth Warren went out to West Virginia, and she got a captured audience of Trump voters. So I think we are at the point now where, instead of being lazy, and I'm not talking about you too, of course, I'm talking about the party itself, instead of being lazy and go out there and meet and reach the people, things will be fine. Democrats don't have to spend all their time in California, New York, or anywhere else. They don't need to spend their time just in these states that they call what states do they call them? The swing states. They need to be everywhere with their surrogates and everything. They need to be everywhere. They need people to see them in all areas, because you know what? It's a difference today. You have somebody living in Wisconsin whose family lives in New York, right? So they talk.
Yep, that's right.
We have to remember those dynamics. It's not a physical thing anymore. So we have to engage people.
It's electoral college, though, Egberto.
Let me finish. Yes.
If you look at the numbers, listen. Let me interject just for a moment here. Mm-hmm. If I tell you, I watched it. If you look at how the electoral college is structured and with the gerrymandering that occurred, that occurred to get it to where it is,
Right.
and the hard lines. I'm saying to you, brother. What I'm looking at the numbers. The numbers don't lie.
Right.
And the numbers say, I mean, what Hillary Clinton proved was that you unequivocally, she beat him by a mile.
3 million votes.
On
Yes.
the vote.
Right.
And yet she's still. And so what I'm saying is, what we need to do now, right? What we need to do now. And I listen. And I want to full disclosure. I'll go with the Republican Party all day long, based on the strength of everything but social, from a business standpoint, because all my clients are on that vein. But at the same time, what I'm looking at the numbers. They don't lie. The Electoral College does not favor, in a general election, anybody else other than Biden. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, now let me
And
correct
Okay, but my thing is,
I need to correct one thing here, okay? Remember, the Electoral College only matters in the congressional races, okay? It does, on a federal level, the Electoral College only matters, as far as how big Congress is going to be, if it's going to really reflect the population. And as well, when it comes to Hillary, to the national thing, if we get, and here's what I'm trying to tell people. This is one of the most important things I'm trying to tell people. And actually, it was just stated by Sapphire Sky here in the chat room. We must all just vote our numbers, because if we vote those numbers, let me tell you about Texas. Texas is really now not a purple state; it's a blue
up
state.
for grabs.
Right. And
Up for grabs.
if Texas goes, we don't have anything else to worry about. All right? But
Agreed. Well, you see, Trump is spending all his money in Florida,
yes, he has to, because of Puerto Rico.
and he wants Florida.
Because of Puerto Rico.
Right. Well, I'm just pointing this out. I'm pointing this out because Rudy made a great point. Listen, it's about winning that electoral college, and so the pathway for Trump to win the presidency. Listen, if he grabs Texas and he grabs Florida, listen, that's hard to beat him right there. That's
Yeah.
gonna be hard to beat him.
He has to hold
Right
Pennsylvania,
there.
Wisconsin,
And I'm just pointing
Michigan.
out that
I agree.
yes,
I
and
agree.
I think Wisconsin's going to swing back the other way.
Right.
But Pennsylvania is up for play, and that's why
Yeah.
Biden is
It's
an interesting pick,
exactly,
because he gives you
exactly.
Pennsylvania.
And you know what I'm about to say about Biden?
That's what I'm telling you.
No, look, I'm with you. Look, I'm not going. Look, let me tell you. As it is today, you're right. As it is today, you're right. But when you look at the ops on Biden is going to be destroyed by Trump. By the time, let's say we choose Biden, I have the dossier on Biden. Biden can't win.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. He's going down.
Yeah, and so that's
He's
what I'm
going
saying.
down.
So we can choose Biden because on the surface it looks like the white working class is going to go for him, and of course every
that's not, that wasn't my logic.
Go ahead, sir.
That wasn't my logic. My logic was, what he does is, his play, you pick up Kamala Harris.
Right.
What you do is, if he goes, you pick up Kamala Harris, you have punching power. I'm telling you, man. You said, let me tell you something.
Yes.
The America getting the first, because we already had a black president. Kamala, as a woman, if she joins up with Joe Biden and they collaborate on a campaign, man, I'm telling you, there's no way I can see they lose, because they have appeal to two different factions.
I tell you, I think Biden would be destroyed. But I mean, again, all of us are just speculating. I am speculating, just as anybody else. So,
I will just point out real quick.
Yeah.
I would just point out that here's the thing. I hear what you're saying about Biden, and I do think that Biden becomes an easy choice. But the problem is that there's going to be stuff. The dossier on him is
terrible.
going to be chilling.
It's
and you
terrible.
made a great point earlier, Egberto, when you said that when they dice it out, when they put him on a comparison point, they're going to make Biden look just as racist and as bigoted as Trump.
And
so it's going to move away. So Trump's going to lose that anti-bigot vote, because the anti-bigot vote goes against Trump until you put him against Biden, and they're going to make Biden look like a bigot.
Right.
I mean, because he's said enough stuff that when it comes down to the federal election, they're going to make him look like a bigot. And so that's why it's tricky with Biden.
Right, and that's what I'm trying
because
to.
Because you need the anti-bigot vote.
That's a good point.
You need the anti-bigot vote to shut down Trump.
Yeah.
So who are you pulling for?
Hey
So
guys,
let me
I
ask
got to
you
move
this.
on.
So my thing is,
hey guys,
it's
look.
got to be Warren.
Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead.
I'm thinking Elizabeth Warren, and then where it gets tricky is yeah, I would love to say Kamala Harris, but I almost feel like Buttigieg. You got to put Buttigieg up there because you got to lock in this gay vote thing. Lock it in.
Yeah,
lock it in, and
hey
and
guys,
say, hey, listen.
stop! Everybody stop!
Market.
Everybody stop! Here's the thing, guys. I need to get into
And I hate using that term. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, actually, you said nothing wrong. I mean, you said absolutely nothing wrong. We are all honest on politics and right. You're absolutely correct in what you said. Now,
I'm just saying how they're putting Buttigieg out there.
I know.
They're putting him out there as the gay vote.
Yeah, but that's look.
You know what I thought about?
Real quick, Rudy, because I got to move on. Yes, sir.
Real quick. Okay, Johnny. Here's what I was thinking on Buttigieg. The one thing, what happened, and what's happening in Indiana. Right now, I think he's drawn. He might be a little bit over his head at some point in the future. But I think he might be a little bit over his head with everything that's happening because he's got the same racial issues that
Oh,
Joe
yeah.
Biden
Yes.
has, but he has some new.
Okay, guys.
Oh,
look,
yes.
I appreciate both of
Thank
you.
you.
I appreciate both of you for being here with me. You guys are exceptional as usual. One Republican, one Democrat. I know you're a Republican, Rudy. So look.
Yeah, I told you that.
Yeah, but anyway, look. I love you guys all, and we'll talk the next show. But I got to go on to Medicare for all. Thank you, buddy. All right, now we go to Kathleen Morgan says Biden's support won't hold through the debates, and I'm with you 100%. Jennifer Ann House Sanders says why most of his policy the Dems are pushing. Jennifer, what happens is what we were just talking about. The dossier. Look, Biden. I do not think Biden is a racist. I think Biden is an old man who still has some of the old things that he goes by. Okay, and including some of the. I don't want. It's not racism. It's a sort of a prejudice. Okay, and they are going to exploit that and turn it into Trump, which it isn't. But they will do that because they are more effective at doing that than we are. Likewise, they're going to use his problems that he's had with women, and they're going to try to equate that with Trump. So they're going to equalize Biden and Trump with the morality. They're going to equalize Biden's and Trump's morality. After they've equalized that, they can then fight on who's a strong man, and Biden can't win that battle. And I don't know if we want to be honest, you don't have to be ageist to see that Biden was not on his game. When I say not on his game, I mean he's genuine. From an intellectual point of view, he isn't the Biden of old. And likewise, if we take a look at if you look at some other issues, so we don't need a Biden that isn't 100% the intellect of old to be in front of Bernie. We need I think this is the ideal time, and I don't mean to. Like I said, this is man speak here, I guess. But I just want a woman to be the president of the United States now. I want something different. I want to see what leadership looks like here. Okay, I want to see what leadership looks like. Getting rid of this ultra testosterone as the most powerful country in the world. And I think men ought to be men enough to be able to do that, and I think we can position ourselves to convince even the most sexist person that we have to go with the policies that better suit us, and I think the policies that better suit us are being articulated by women. And I'm not just this is not just saying, oh, tired of men or no. I think the best policies right now, if you listen to that debate, and America heard it, because they just you don't see a vote in a debate like that where they say 59% of the people said Elizabeth Warren won in her leg, and 59% said Kamala Harris won in her leg. You don't see that. Okay, let's go for Medicare for all. I want to play this to you. I played this to you the last time, but I want you to see this again. This is very, very important. Let me kind of put it down there just so I don't get into any kind of copyright issue with those guys. Because, they'll probably hate me for doing this, but here we go.
Serious. Medicare for all would eliminate private insurance for 180 million people. You and every American waiting in the same government-run plan. How long will you wait? government plan, no matter how serious. Medicare for All would eliminate private insurance for 180 million people. You and every American waiting in the same government-run plan. How long will you wait?
Okay. Now, I said that is a winning message, and I mean that. That is a winning message because most people have been conditioned to understand that in Canada people are waiting, that in Great Britain people are waiting, that in France people are waiting. All these things are not true. Let's be frank. On certain services, people wait. On certain services, they don't. But in America, the wait is no different. If you don't have the best stellar insurance, meaning if you don't work, if you are not one of the 10% of people who work for the best companies in the world that has the high price, great insurance policies that you have the same problem here. You want to see a specialist, you wait. You want to get a procedure, you wait for several weeks sometimes, several months sometimes. That happens in the United States right this minute. And not only do you wait, though, you go ahead and you pay premiums that are high, and you have a whole lot of. So here's what I try to tell people. Don't have the debate by trying to say you don't wait. When they make the argument and they say you have to wait for service, ask them what's the difference between that, what they believe, which isn't true most of the times, and what they're seeing in America. Ask them to explain things to you. Don't tell them. Ask them the questions. And here are some questions I'd like you to ask people. When they say they don't want single payer, ask them why. And then and ask them specifically, why don't you want one company or one entity paying the bill? And then they're going to give you an answer. And then you ask them, if I have to pay 100 different chief executive officers and hundreds of thousands of monies to shareholders, and all of that money comes out of premiums, ask them, how then is single payer more expensive than paying for that above what healthcare costs? And I'm saying, cater it in your own language. Don't tell them things. Start asking questions. Because when they have to come up with the answer, then they start thinking. When you're telling them things, they just have to regurgitate what they hear and what they know. What we want the process to be, and by the way, you're not going to get good answers right up front. But what you're starting to do is foment questions in their heads. Then also point to them when you see those commercials on TV that are asking you not to go for single payer. Ask them, why would a company spend hundreds of millions of dollars to convince you to stay with a system? And where is the money coming from to convince you to stay with that system? Ask them these questions. Ask them, if they were the one controlling healthcare, what would they do? How would they do it? And what you're going to find out is that even the staunchest opposers of single payer would realize and tell you, oh, wow, that is more efficient. And then that is what you want to address, the but. Oh, if there's only one entity, then there could be a lot of fraud and there's no competition. And he said, what percentage fraud do you think there is going to be? And let's say they say 10% fraud. Then you can actually say, well, the overhead of private insurance is over 20%. So are you telling me that even with fraud, single payer would be less expensive? So what I'm saying is there are ways now to talk about single payer where even the staunchest conservative realize that it is a more efficient system, and you can call it socialism if you want, but it's not really. It is what's best. I sat, and I think I've told many of you this story many a times. I sat down in a Starbucks, and a woman just came up to talk. She sees me in there all of the time, and she wanted to talk, and we got into healthcare. And then she has some issues with healthcare, and I started to explain what I think healthcare should be. And in effect, what I was explaining to her was single payer healthcare. And she was agreeing with me on every single point. And I felt guilty because I live in a very red Republican area. So I didn't want to just fool this woman. So I looked at her and I said, I just want to point out to you that I'm a left-wing progressive, and I mean as left as you can go. And I said, and she looked at me and she turned around and she got very red. And she looked at me straight in the eyes and she said, but you are so nice. And I said, do not believe the caricature that you see on TV. When you start to develop that rapport with people, and the problem about this is tedious work. And a lot of folks don't want to do it. A lot of our Democrats who should be creating organizations to do this kind of engagement, they don't want too much of this engagement because they themselves don't want people too educated. Neither the Democratic establishment nor the Republican establishment wants you to be too educated. Because if you are too educated, you're going to be pragmatic in the things that you want. And when you figure out the things that you want, you're going to realize that it is anathema to many of the things within the corporate structure. Because the corporate structure is generally taken from you for a few. So nobody wants you all that intelligent. Now, the Democrats want you a bit more intelligent because, again, hey, for the things that they want, a more intelligent protege is better. So what I'm trying to tell you all people is this. Don't let anybody fool you, and don't think that that these things are static. We can actually make a difference. Oh, wow, it's 3:57 and I haven't even asked you guys to subscribe yet. Stay with me. Wow, here's what I'd like to beg you to do. Please go to support independent media at patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Please go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. That's spelled patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Subscribe to our show. I mean, it's very inexpensive, and you allow us to do the things that we ought to do, that we are doing, to change minds, to improve our body politic. We are working hard at it. We're going to be in Philly week after next next week, Tuesday, in Philly at the largest progressive convention where there are going to be all these candidates coming out, the bloggers, writers, all progressives coming up, and now I'll be bringing you a whole lot of interviews. We're still trying our GoFundMe to continue to build up on that, to get our equipment, redo our equipment. If you want to help progressive media, if you want to help us get the message out, just like I explained with that woman, we are out there talking. I'm out there talking to people, making that difference, not only to one, but to many at a time. And this avenue gives me the ability to reach many people at a time. So this is what I'm asking you. Go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright to subscribe. If you just want to contribute a one-time deal, go to politicsdoneright.com/donate. And if you want to buy some good stuff, we have T-shirts and we have cups and we have all kinds of things out there. Go to store.politicsdoneright.com, and I have that up on the screen right now. But if you're just listening to the podcast, I'm going to repeat it one more time, then I'm come back. Patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Patreon is spelled patreon.com/politicsdoneright. To just donate a one time, two times, or if you want to even do a monthly thing, politicsdoneright.com/donate. To shop, to get some of our stuff like our cups, etc., go to store.politicsdoneright.com. We really need your support. Anybody who subscribed to the program gets to read all our books online. As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. That book, I guarantee you, it's a good read, and you'd learn a whole lot about how the system works, and etc. I'm writing the current book called How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. The idea behind that book is to make it in very simple terms, not just about what is happening, but what we can do to make a difference. And I have chapters 1, 2, and 3 written that you can read online already. I'm writing chapter 4 right now. That's how it goes. Like I told you, it's being done in real time. If you want to put something in that book, that you turn me on to put something in that book, I'll also attribute that to you if you so desire. And of course, guys, I've had my health problems. Lose weight and be fit now. Say no to snake oil weight loss. I've really done it, and I've kept it off. I've gotten my blood pressure under check. Why did I write this book? I'm a political guy. because even politicians have healthcare issues, or rather, even activists have healthcare issues. Oh my God, we're past time, and I see a caller on. I can't leave a caller hanging. Come on, caller, you have about 2 minutes. I'll go over by 2 minutes. Talk to me.
Well, your thing said you have an hour left, but
No, I don't.
you know, you
Go
got
ahead.
people. You have people hollering that they want reparations.
Mm-hmm.
You have people hollering that they want homes for the homeless, and they want to have their student loan debt paid for. Now you're hollering about Medicare for all. How are we going to pay for all these?
Let me just talk about. I'm not going to talk about reparations today. I'm not going to talk about.
Well, if you have Medicare for all, how are you going to pay for reparations?
Let me finish this real quickly. Two things I need to tell you. First of all, people have a tendency to believe that Medicare for all is free. Medicare for all is not free. Medicare for all is paid through general taxes, and all of us will pay. In fact, a lot of people that are getting health care for free right now under Medicare, they will start paying. And that is one of the interesting things that I think it's so poor on our part for not illustrating. Medicare for all is one of those things where everybody has skin in the game because they pay based on what they can afford for insurance, and that insurance comes out of general funds. Okay, so therefore, we figure out what the risk pool is of the country. We don't break the country into hundreds of risk pool corresponding to different insurance companies who have each of them have.
But I've already paid into Medicare, so I got to pay, and I paid my own private insurance, so I got to pay twice. Huh?
No, I mean, again, that is one way that you can look at it, but it's not the way to look at it at all.
But it's true.
No, it's not true at all. Let me first tell you something.
I'm paying for my own private insurance, and I have paid the max in Medicare and Social Security all my work career.
Yes.
Now you want me to pay for somebody else?
No, you see, you're not paying for somebody else. You're paying into society. You're not paying for somebody else. You people think insurance is a product. Insurance is not a product. Insurance is just.
But when you pay into society, you're paying for somebody else.
You know what?
You're saying you want to come out of the general fund.
Yes, and I'm paying for you, sir. I'm paying for the military that is protecting you for being a millionaire.
I pay for myself.
No, you don't. You don't pay your fair share for the protection the U.S. military gives you.
I buy my own insurance.
Sir, you may buy your own insurance, but what I'm telling you, my dear friend, is that if we were to add up what capitalism has done for you, because you are one of the major beneficiaries of capitalism. I will tell you, and I will tell you to your eyes, to your face, to your ears, that you have not paid your fair share. The vast majority of Americans have paid more towards your maintaining capitalism as it is today than you have. You should be telling the vast amount of American people, thank you very much for purchasing my products. Thank you very much for paying the taxes. Thank you very much for creating an economy that affords me to take more than my fair share. That's what you should be telling
You know
people.
what? I'm staying in a state where they have some of the lowest taxes that there is. Gasoline right now selling for a little bit over $2 a gallon.
That's Texas,
There's hardly no, I mean in
no,
Louisiana.
what I'm saying, that's how it is in Texas too.
Yeah. So, but in New York and Illinois, people are fleeing the state because they're raising taxes on the few people who are paying the majority of the income tax dollars.
Let me tell you something.
You know what?
No. Let me finish with
this. I tell you what.
No, let me tell you.
Medicare for all should be per state. Where if a person don't like what's going on in that state, they can flee it and go someplace else.
Well, not really, because I'm telling you, we are more connected than most capitalists realize. And whenever you can't stand without those poor people, believe it or not, because you are a beneficiary.
But that's not true. I can stand without them.
No, you can't. I'm sorry, and that is what rich people don't understand.
How is it that I cannot?
Let me tell you something. What do you build things, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, what do you build?
I hire people.
What do you build?
We build office buildings. We build bridges.
Right, and everything that you build is dependent on everybody using it, and absent them using it, you don't build it.
No, absent of me not building it, they don't use it. They have to swim across the water.
And that's fine. The thing about it, what I'm trying to tell you is that there's a symbiotic relationship between all levels of people, and what many people with your ideology fail to realize is how important those that you consider downtrodden are. That's all.
Well, let me ask you something. What should how much you want from people in
a lot
that complain? How much you want?
Let me tell you how
what
much,
is a
let
lot?
me tell you how much I want.
Okay, suppose we make 100,000 a year. How much are we supposed to give up?
No, that's not the numbers I'm looking at. What I'm saying is this, and I don't have the exact numbers or figures, but nobody is worthy of $1 billion. Nobody. Because that is
that's not true.
Let me finish.
As I said before,
Sir,
you have people that win the lotto and they could buy you. But tell me how much you want us to give.
Again, we do not. That is, your wealth is the excess labor of somebody else. Remember that. In other words, that's what it is. But I got to go now, my friend. We'll talk another time. Try to call at the right time.
Next time, come back with some real numbers.
If you want some real numbers, I can give
you
you some. Have a good one, brother. Thank you, my brother. All right, folks, I got to get out of here. But look, patreon.com/politics done right. I wouldn't leave any of my callers. I respect all my callers, all my listeners too much to leave anybody hanging. Thank you so kindly for listening. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
1, 2, 3.